The global housing market has reached boiling point. Sydney, Australia. Homes are becoming increasingly unaffordable, meaning a whopping 90% of aspiring first-time homeowners are unable to buy a property. Dublin, Ireland. The amount of adults living with their parents has almost doubled in a decade. Less than a third of people under the age of 30 own their home. Buenos Aires, Argentina. As inflation tops 160%, landlords are unable to collect rents, causing vacant homes and homeless tenants. New York, USA. Apartments remain in incredibly short supply, leading to overcrowding and relocation of many residents. In all of these cases, people have been squeezed out of affordable housing. Rising prices, fueled by factors ranging from speculation to limited land availability, have made owning a home a distant pipe dream for millions. This is especially true for young adults who are finding themselves priced out of the very neighborhoods they grew up in. The severe shortage of housing is making things worse. To put it simply, not enough houses are being built. But why has it come to this? What exactly has caused the conditions we are seeing today? Once upon a time, a family could afford to buy a house, raise children, and live comfortably on a singular income. This was not because society was richer, it was because there was an adequate supply of housing. Post-World War II, the UK government in particular ramped up social housing, with construction peaking in the 1960s. Back then, housing was viewed as a commodity rather than an investment. Instead of acting as a wealth creation tool, its main function was to provide a roof over heads. Then, something changed. Deregulation of financial markets, decreased interest rates, and easier access to mortgages turned housing into a lucrative investment asset. Wall Street's creation of complex mortgage instruments fueled a speculative bubble, which continued to grow throughout the 1990s and 2000s. Here, house prices exploded in growth. Despite the 2008 housing market crash, attitudes towards its profits remained. Since the pandemic, growth has created yet another overinflated market, similar to pre-2008 levels. In 1980, around 45% of British and American people lived in their own property with their own children. Today, that percentage is just 20%. With no fix in sight, the trend will continue until the middle-class American dream finally fizzles out for good. Let's take a closer look at Ireland. Their housing market has inflated far beyond any other area of its economy. From 2012 to 2022, wages increased by 27% compared to a 75% increase in residential property prices and a 90% increase in rents. This has led to a huge downturn in home ownership. So, where are these people living? Are they just renting more? Well, not really. As I said before, rental prices have increased more than houses themselves. What we are seeing is a rise in young people not moving out of their childhood home, as well as a rise in evictions leading to homelessness. A remarkable 68% of adult males between the ages of 25 to 29 are still living with their parents. For context, this percentage in the rest of Europe is 42%, and this percentage in Ireland just a decade ago was 36%. This rate has almost doubled, caused by the exponential difficulty in affording rent with an average income, especially in cities like Dublin. Similarly, Sydney has become ridiculously expensive. They are the second least affordable city in the world for housing, behind Hong Kong, who are first mainly due to their extreme concentration of wealth in such a small area. Australian households are drowning in housing debt compared to many other countries. Their household debt-to-income ratio is a massive 211%, far exceeding the US ratio of 101%. This means Australians owe more than twice their annual income just to keep a roof over their heads. With house prices increasing by more than a third since the pandemic, this trend will only get worse. Wherever you go, there seems to be a mounting housing crisis affecting hundreds of millions around the world. So we've outlined the problems, but what about solutions? You could say, just build more houses. Have the supply and demand form an equilibrium to stabilize prices. The problem is, we are far, far away from an equilibrium. In the UK alone, there are 4 million less homes than needed. The population is 68 million. If the government's target of 300,000 homes built a year was reached, it would still take 50 years to fill the deficit. Across the world, the WEF has estimated a total of 1.6 billion people to be affected by the global housing shortage next year, with the only solution possible decades away. What hope can we have for our near future? Unfortunately, the only way the market can properly reset is through a huge crash, eclipsing that of 2008. Although this would cause untold economic damage, mass unemployment, and a worldwide recession, it could be the only thing to reverse the greedy mindset from viewing housing as a speculative investment to a human necessity. Thank you for watching.